Well, Ed O'Keefe is a reporter for the Washington Post, and he joins us now from Washington. Ed, to get started, I just want to get your reaction to this campaign shakeup. What are you hearing from Republicans there in Washington?
Well, it's the third campaign management shakeup in, I guess, 2 months now, and it signals that, they still don't feel like he's doing as well as he could, and that was the reason that they've obviously decided to do this. I think there's some nervousness about Steve Bannon's involvement in all this, given that he's been running a website that for the last few years really has been a thorn in the side of Republican leadership here in Washington. They're no fan of Breitbart necessarily. While they can understand that there's an audience for it, certainly the tactics that the website has used to criticize Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, John Boehner before Paul Ryan, and other Republican leaders is such that they this idea that a publication that is sort of popular with what's known as the alt-right or alt-conservatives, alternative conservatives, is something that I think is going to be seen as concerning to a lot of these top-flight Republicans. But look, he's still losing, and if for some reason the numbers start to close up again, and he seems to improve in some critical swing states, then this will be seen as working. But I was struck by Kellyanne Conway's comments there. If she's the new manager and this is what she's advocating, let's wait a few days and see if what she's hoping for there, substance, focus on the issues, really is what Mr. Trump starts to do. If it isn't, then she just sounded there like most other aggrieved Republican consultants who have been hoping that the election would focus more on issues. And the idea that the Trump campaign, or at least its new campaign manager, is concerned about someone lobbing insults, where's she been for the last few months? Welcome to the NFL. This is the game that Mr. Trump himself has been playing. And, I think we'd all appreciate more of a focus on issues, but that hasn't been the way it's been from either side of this campaign, really. Certainly not in the last few weeks.
It almost seems, Ed, as if Mr. Trump is looking for sort of echo chamber where he can be in the driver's seat, which is what a lot of people say that he already is, and he can have parroted back to him what he believes is the correct strategy. We know, or we've heard at least, that former Fox News chairman Roger Ailes is advising Trump, and now with Steve Bannon in this lead role, it seems like there's a very close mingling of media and politics in a way that we've never even seen before, not even with Fox News.
No, and look, the modern way of politicking requires expert use and manipulation of all forms of media, whether it's streaming news services, whether it's television, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter. He's done a very good job of that. And if he wants to double down on it and figures that that's the way to campaign in the new age, it'll be a grand experiment, and we'll see how well it goes. But I think that's part of why Republicans outside the campaign are concerned about this latest shakeup, is that now there really is nobody, unless his children start to see the problems and bring them to him, who can really go to him and say, sir, you're doing it in a way that is not working. And if the belief is that you go back to being what he was during the primary campaign and hope that works, okay. But remember, the universe of Republican primary voters is minuscule compared to a general election race, which is what he's in right now. And I think when you're someone who has spent most of the time, going to campaign rallies where they're stacked with hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of supporters, and you go and talk to interviewers who give relatively easy interviews, and then you spend the rest of the time campaigning and hearing from friends and foes through Twitter, that gives you a very different perspective of what voters in this country are thinking, and yes, could lock him in a dangerous vacuum or echo chamber where he perhaps just doesn't read the electorate correctly. If you look at it right now, he's losing, and he's beginning to lose in states he's going to need to win if he has any legitimate shot at getting close to 270 electoral votes.
Yeah, and he's losing in certain demographics, which I want to talk about. In regards to Kellyanne Conway, I think her promotion was at least people applauded that more than they did Bannon's. But what is she really going to bring to this campaign? I'm particularly thinking about the fact that he needs to craft a message that is attractive to women. It's not like she wasn't with the campaign already. She's been working with the campaign since before this promotion.
Right. She's been a pollster. She's a very well-known Republican pollster and has focused a lot in recent years on how exactly Republicans should be talking or selling themselves to women voters. But she made a good point there on CBS, and if we believe, or on CBS this morning, if we believe what she said, that she was promoted not because she was a woman or because they were looking for a woman, but because she was seen as qualified and able to do this. And she certainly is qualified to focus on these big issues of political strategy because she's been involved in that in campaigns over the course of the last several years. She was brought in earlier this summer as a pollster, as another senior advisor, someone who had been advising a super PAC to Ted Cruz before that. And yes, again, if what she was espousing this morning prevails on the campaign and it becomes a more substantive effort that focuses on trying to broaden his appeal again to women and to others, you know, good for them. But they've only got about 80 or so days to do it, and really they only have about 70 days until debates and just a few weeks before early voting begins in some states. So the turnaround will have to happen pretty quickly if they hope to prevail.
All right, Ed, before we let you go, help us make sense of something that Donald Trump tweeted out recently, this morning. He wrote, quote, "They will soon be calling me Mr. Brexit." And I see a lot of responses with a lot of question marks in that. So what's he trying to say here?
I've got a big one myself. I don't know. I mean, I think he sort of aligned himself with the Brexit movement in the UK earlier this summer, believing that that sort of anti-establishment, take things back from global powers argument was one that would resonate here, maybe.
You think that saying that you are aligned with UK interests is going to resonate with Americans?
I don't know with whom, but
Yeah.
but that may be what this is part of. You know, that one has not been explained yet. We'll have to wait and see exactly what he meant. One also wonders, look, maybe it was saved in his drafts, you know, and he hadn't sent it back in June when the vote was held, and he just accidentally tweeted it out this morning. We've all been there.
Ed O'Keefe, thanks so much as always. We appreciate it.
Take care.